Reading books is a proven way to be more productive, of expanding your knowledge and open up your mind to new ways of thinking. In fact, it's been found that the number of books read per year correlates to income. You can actually earn more money if you focus on expanding your knowledge via the books you read. They actually compile statistics with Americans earning the following. If they earn below $30,000 a year, on average, they read 7 books a year, with a median of 2 books a year. If they earn between $30,000 and $49,000, on average, they read 14 books a year, with a median of 5. If they earn between $50,000 and $74,000, on average, they read 15, with a median of 5 again. If they earn above $75,000 a year, on average, they read 15 books, with a median of 6. Hey, I'm curious, does your income correlate to the average or the median numbers here? Go back to that list and let me know. And astonishingly, it's been said that the average CEO reads up to 60 books a year. Whether or not that's true, I mean, that's more like a book a week. But regardless of that figure being true or not, I think we can say with a fair degree of certainty that they probably read more than 15 books a year. We have to ask ourselves, how do we achieve more? And how do we earn more? One answer is to read more books, yes, but it isn't just the quantity of books. We can't equal or beat the top CEOs by overloading ourselves with books. We have to choose the right ones. So I'm going to go over the books that I read over the last few months, whether it be listening to an audiobook while driving or exercising, or reading it on Kindle, or picking up a good old-fashioned physical paper book. I know, I didn't know they still made them either, but believe it or not, I just saw a whole building full of them. The first book is The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. Man, I really like that name, Lencioni. It's a fable about a fictional company where morale deteriorates due to people leaving and others being asked to step down, and then subsequently overall unhappiness between the employees. The atmosphere became toxic, nothing could get done, and backstabbing became common. It conveys why even the best teams struggle to work together, and how to overcome distrust in order to achieve the company's goals and become an effective team.
Mission says we have done well, that we are an effective team.
Along comes a new hire named Catherine. She gets in and she starts ruffling some feathers. She pulls some maneuvers that really bring the team together and bring them back from being dysfunctional. It's some rather interesting stuff. I definitely would recommend it if you're in the management world. She says, a fractured team is like a broken arm or leg. Fixing it is very painful, and sometimes you have to re-break it to make it heal correctly. And the re-break hurts a lot more than the initial break because you have to do it on purpose. So yeah, it gets kind of juicy. And I especially like what she said about making meetings better. To think about meetings versus movies, to make meetings as exciting as movies. And meetings don't have to suck because, you know, everybody loves meetings. I for one strive to get all my meetings rated at least 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. One time I tried editing my meetings with the same hyper editing tactics that I use in my channel here. And then I posted online and then I got fired. The second book on the list is YouTube's Secrets by Sean Cannell and Benji Travis. And these guys, as you imagine, are very prominent on YouTube. This book is full of insights about how you can start posting on YouTube about what interests you, about how you can create content and the things you're passionate about. It's a very valuable resource for any creator really, but especially if you're a beginner. Very helpful with some inner workings of YouTube. I bet the lessons in this book would only make for a compelling video series, but if only there was some place to upload them online. And the next one is Extreme Ownership. I really like this one. It's by Jocko Williams and Leif Babin. Definitely one of my favorites. Both of the authors fought in violent battlefields in Iraq. Their SEAL task unit was faced with a virtually impossible mission to help US forces secure Ramadi, which is a city that was deemed all but lost. This book not only describes extreme ownership in the corporate world, but firsthand accounts of heroism, tragic loss, and hard-won victories on the battlefield. They learned that leadership at every level is the most important factor when teams fail or succeed. After departing the SEAL teams, they formed a company called Echelon Front, a company that teaches the same leadership principles to businesses and organizations. From promising startups to Fortune 500 companies, they help businesses and organizations build up their teams and dominate their battlefield. But hopefully with fewer guns. A compelling narrative with powerful instruction and direct application, Extreme Ownership revolutionizes management and challenges leaders everywhere to fulfill their purpose, to lead and win. Jocko is very prominent on YouTube and other sites as a motivational speaker. Extreme Ownership is an excellent motivational book. It crafts leadership lessons and applications for any leader. A leader that must embrace and take ownership of everything their team does, including mistakes. As Jocko often says, there are no bad teams, just bad leaders. And you must take personal responsibility for your failures and mean it with certainty. As a leader, you must believe in the mission. Failure to do so is unacceptable. Never let ego get in the way. Simplifying as much as possible is crucial to success. When things are too complex, people may not understand them. Commands must be communicated in a manner that is simple, clear, and concise. Everyone who is part of the mission must understand his or her role in the mission and know what to do in case of unlikely consequences. If your team does not understand, it is your responsibility and you have failed. You didn't present it in a way that's simple. Leaders must take the time to encourage questions and the understanding of their team. Prioritize and execute. Humans are generally incapable of managing more than 6 to 10 people. Building block teams are 4 to 6 man teams with a leader. Junior leaders must be empowered to make decisions and take initiative on behalf of their mission. No matter how exhausted, always have a post-mission briefing. Cover what went wrong, what went right, and how can we adapt our tactics to be more effective to increase our advantage over the enemy. Also, on the leader's checklist should include analyze the mission, understand the higher headquarters mission, the commander's state understand and the goal. Commander's intent, ask questions, and engage in discussion and interaction with assets, visualize the planning process, empower leaders within the team, a specific course of action. And dude, I have quite a few more bullet points here, so what I'll do is I'll put a full list in the description below if you want to check it out. Very inspirational to say the least, and shoot me a comment below if you've ever heard of this book. And by the way, before I continue, if you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe if you enjoy discussions about making money and productivity. The fourth book on the list is SEO Mastery by Graham Fisher. This one kind of blew me away. I remember when I started reading this book, I thought it was just going to be filled with beginner stuff, but the level of detail it went into far surpassed my expectations. As I always say, nearly everyone, regardless of whatever business you're in, needs to know about SEO. And this book can help you do just that. Now, it was indeed relatively short, and that seems to be a common complaint about it if you look it up and look at reviews, but within that short content is some valuable information. Well worth the purchase. Now, the fifth book on the list is the Critical Thinking Bible. This is going to be funny because I'm not actually sure this is a book that I'd want to actually recommend. And I thought about it pretty critically, you know? I went into it thinking that it was going to be awesome, but it was just filled with general information that everybody really knows anyway. There were a few things in my opinion that just weren't correct. For example, he recommends drinking coffee and caffeine to improve memory. Caffeine is known for increasing alertness but decreasing reaction time, among other drawbacks. He also recommends drinking alcohol, 1 cup a day for women and 2 for men. I mean, I don't know, but by any standards, if you drink that much alcohol, something isn't right. A truly productive person normally correlates to a person who endeavors to enhance their cognitive ability. And generally, they would pride themselves off of the number of days they haven't drank alcohol and dulled their senses. I've seen people go on no alcohol binges and count the days and weeks and months that they haven't drank alcohol. And generally, these people are high status, high income, and/or incredibly intelligent. Then irony hits you in the face like a pie when a few points later he talks about the need to walk regularly to get oxygen flowing to the brain. The irony being that, in case you didn't know, alcohol has a denaturation effect. It actually decreases absorption of oxygen in the blood. Apparently, he wasn't thinking critically when he wrote this book. I actually focus on this because a few years back, I used to be a total health freak. But then I let myself go for a few years, and then I guess recently I've been slowly but surely getting myself back to that level and that routine. So we'll see how it goes on that front. You know, because good health and productivity go hand in hand, or at least they should. But about this critical thinking book, I'm compelled to add that while listening to this book on Audible, the narrator would sometimes fumble. You would hear him pause for 10 seconds, then you would hear him drinking some liquid or something, and then he would reread the same paragraph all over again. And I'm thinking perhaps, you know, he was like drinking his 2 cups of wine per day while he was actually recording. Not too much thought was put into this book across the board, which makes it hard not to make puns about it, being that the name of the book is Critical Thinking. Overall, not a total waste of time. I mean, if you have some extra credits in Audible and you just want to spend 3.5 hours listening to the book, it's not that long of a book. Like, hey, why not? Just go for it. Personally, I wish I had spent 3.5 hours doing something else. Well, that's about it. I hope you found this helpful. And if you think somebody else would benefit from the information in this video, please share it with them. And if you made it this far, I'm going to be giving away some prizes. If you're the first or second person to comment below and give me a detailed paragraph or two about a book that you read recently and would recommend, please go ahead. I'm going to give away this hard copy of Extreme Ownership and this $25 Barnes & Noble gift card. If you're the first person, you get to choose which one, although I'd probably be disappointed if you don't choose the actual Extreme Ownership book. Unless, of course, you give me a good reason, like you already have a copy of the book, or you're going to get the gift card to actually use it to buy the book. That would make me proud. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. And if you haven't liked, make sure you hit that like button. And